Hi, church. Thank you for giving us a couple minutes to talk about the Pathways to Generosity campaign that begins on October 22nd. We're approaching the time of year when we find ourselves reflecting on gratitude and generosity, on how we can give back in response to God's faithfulness.
We want to invite you to join us on a journey. Over the last number of years, we focused intently on God's dreams for this community and on how our generosity is a spiritual practice that brings God's dreams into reality. Pathways to Generosity will help us deepen our understanding that generosity is not our way of raising the budget, but God's way of raising us as disciples.
We're excited about this journey and the steps that we're taking together on the giving path. We're asking you to pause and look honestly at where you currently stand in your giving. And then we encourage you to take another step towards greater generosity and its invitation to deeper life.
So what does this giving path look like? Well, it begins with an invitation. If you're not giving at all right now, we ask that you'd consider taking a first step to begin giving. And if you've given sporadically, perhaps when you had a little extra, we invite you to take the next step and become an intentional giver. That means setting a predetermined percentage of your income that you plan to give throughout the year.
For those already intentional in their giving, we invite you to grow your generosity by giving a higher percentage of your income compared to last year. Maybe just 1 or 2% higher, but taking a step forward on the pathway this year. Continuing along the path, we encourage you to set a goal of becoming a tithing giver, someone who gives away 10% of their income every year.
Tithing is a profound act of faith that is found consistently in our scripture library. In Genesis, we see examples of Abraham and Jacob, characters we just learned from in our Origin Stories series. They promised to give God 10% of everything that they have. In Malachi 3:10, God invites us to the practice of tithing, promising blessings to each of us and our whole community when we embrace this giving path wholeheartedly.
I remember my first intentional gift to church. I was fresh out of college, making less than $20,000 a year, but I chose to give as a joyful response to God's love for me. But even at the beginning of the journey, that choice to be generous added so much joy and blessing to my life.
Don and I both now give at least a tithe of our income. We believe in God's work through this church, and we believe in God's work through you. And it's been a meaningful journey for both of us that has deepened our connection to God and our understanding of the connectedness of us all. We truly are in this together, all of us, no matter where we are on the pathway.
For those who are already tithing, we extend an invitation to take a step beyond by becoming an extravagant giver, someone who is not only marked by generosity, but who is transformed by it, expanding their giving even further than a tithe to increase the collective blessings of the community.
So let's journey together, step by step along this giving path. Every day over the next 4 weeks, each one of us is invited to pray, God, what am I called to give? This journey is a prayer, a conversation with God about our personal generosity. It may take time to reach where God calls us to be, but remember, every journey begins with a first step.
To help us keep that prayerful focus, we're currently in the midst of a church-wide devotional called Practicing Extravagant Generosity that has been and will continue to show up in your inbox every day. I encourage you to take time each day to read the daily reflections. You will also be receiving a letter and a brochure from me this week that will help us begin this Pathways journey. And then for the next 4 Sundays, I invite you to join us as we worship each week, either online or in person, as we hear stories from those whose lives are being impacted by the ministry and witness of FUMC Denton, and reflection from friends within the congregation about the different places that we find ourselves on the giving pathway as an expression of our faith.
Thank you for being part of this church community, and thank you for your generosity. And thank you for joining us on this journey toward a more generous heart. If you have any questions or need guidance along this path, don't hesitate to reach out to your group leader or to one of the pastors. We're looking forward to walking this path of generosity with you. Let's keep taking these steps asking for God's guidance on where God calls each of us to be in our giving.
Mark your calendars for Sunday, November 12th, when we'll gather as a community to return our estimate of giving cards for 2024, a reminder that our giving is a profound act of worship. Together, let's grow as disciples in the way of Jesus. Thank you for your time and commitment to this journey, and we'll see you in church.